I'm going to cover how to do a mail merge. This is aligns with one of the assignments that you have, and so let's just go ahead and dive into it. So mail merge is in the mailings tab, and it starts here. So the first thing you do is click on Start Mail Merge. There are a couple different types that you can do. You can do email messages, envelopes, letters, labels, a directory, um, and a normal Word document. We're going to do a letter, and when you choose one of these, it walks you through the process, sort of after. So I click that. From here, you have to know what you're doing. Um, what we have to do next is select recipients. So we've got a couple of options. We can use an existing list. Here you can have, we're not going to do that for this assignment, but once you walk through this with me, if you've done it before, you know what I'm talking about, I think. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, for example, uh, that contains the columns with the data that I'm going to show you here in a minute. You can see once we walk through the type a new list, you can see how the spreadsheet would need to be formatted. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, I'll show you the window. It just kind of comes up with this folder, which is where our data is going to ultimately be. Right in here, you can use things like a database file or an XLSX file, which is a spreadsheet from Excel. And then you can see a lot of other data sources. But the easiest one, if you're not going to follow this procedure that I'm about to show you, the easiest one to me would be an Excel spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and type a new list. I'm going to demonstrate a couple things here, then I'm going to pause it and type in the rest of my list, and I'll be back. But first, let's take a look at this. By default, we have this group of columns. Pretty common list of things that you would see in a mail merge. So we can click on this customize columns over here, and it comes up to this, and it shows us all the different things that we can do. So some of the things I don't really need, for example, are the country or region. I don't need that. I don't need any. I guess I could keep the phone in there. I'll get rid of the work phone. I don't need an email address for this particular item. Got the title, first name, last name of the individual receiving the letter, and of course their address, city, state, and zip. I don't need their phone number. I'm going to delete that too. One of the things that's not on here for the assignment that we're working on is there's an additional code, and you can add codes by just clicking here. And I'm just going to add gift for this assignment. Now you can move these around so that they show up in a different order on this screen back here. If I wanted to move that up here, I could do that, but I'm going to keep this one at the end. And I click OK, and now you can see my list is customized to my mail merge that I'm working on. Now, let's see, I'm going to put in my dad's name here. Actually, I don't need company either. I'm going to take that out of there. Okay. I have no idea what the zip code is in Utah. In Salt Lake City. My dad doesn't live there. Whoops, that's not the zip code. That is. And he gave me a new car. I'm dreaming because he's never done that. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I will put in, we need 5 recipients for this particular assignment. You can have as many as you need. And that's where the Excel spreadsheet or other data source would come in handy, is you might have a source that has all this information. So you'd be able to just import that rather than having to type it all over again. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, put in the rest of my entries, and I'll be right back. All right, so here's the list. I did have 2 address lines, and I was putting the city on the second one, so I just went and deleted that second address line. So now I have just a handful of fields. And then I click OK, and it's going to bring me to a screen where it asks me where I want to put this data. And it's going to save it as a Microsoft Office address lists, which is a strange thing to call this. It's an MDB file, which is an Access Database file. So I'm going to go week 3 assignment. It's actually week 4. And I'm going to save that. And then where'd the data go? Well, it's saved. One of the things that opens up here is we can edit the recipient list. So we can edit the data that's in here. We can validate the addresses if we want to do that. We can sort and filter if we want things to show up in a certain order in the letters, like the letters to come up in a certain order, like if we wanted to do it by last name or whatever. And then we can also click on this, highlight the name of the file, and click edit, and it brings up this, which you should recognize. We were just working on this, an opportunity to make changes to the data file itself. Okay, so I'm not going to edit any of those. Now, what we have to do is we have to type a letter, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to show you how to insert fields. And I'll be right back. Here is our letter. Go back to the Mailings tab. So a couple things to include is your address, kind of like that letter we did for our previous assignment. We're going to have a date, and here I'm going to, not here, the next line down, I'm going to insert the address information. Something to keep in mind is it's very different here than it is on a PC than it is for a Mac. In the assignment, you can see how the Mac is formatted. You have to add each individual field, where for a PC, it has a address block field that grabs all of that information for the address. It puts it in there automatically, so that's kind of cool. One of the things I'm going to show you here, I don't like the way it'll format it if I leave it the way that it is. So if we go to the Home tab, I'll show you what I mean. And that is here on the styles. So if I leave it as normal, you see how it's almost double spaced between lines. If I insert the address block here on a PC this way, it's going to put that much space between each line of the address. So for this particular line, I want to click no spacing here, and then I'll give it an extra space there, and I'll edit it once it's done to make it look the way I want it to. And then here I want the greeting line, and then here I'm going to put my gift. So let's go ahead and start inserting fields. So back on the Mailings tab, we've got this button for Insert Merge Field. So that's one option. We have a couple of others here. We've got the address block. That's one I was talking about, which I would want there. And it kind of gives you an opportunity here to format it. So it shows you the preview of that first line, and then you can use the arrows to go through and make sure that they look the way you want them to look. Or you can change it to one of these other formats. I don't think, based on what the information that I have, it's not going to change it a lot. This one up here changes it to just first name. Let's just go with, I think that was the default. Inserts the postal address, format address according to the destination region or country. That's kind of cool. So these are all going to the United States. It's going to format them that way. And then we click OK. So it inserts this. Now, some caution here for you. I advise you not to try to do something like this. Let's see, where's that? So let's see, something like, okay, there's a big difference, and you can kind of see it, it's subtle, between these two. This is not a field, whereas that is. There's a way that you can make sure you know what is a field and what isn't. If we go to File, Options, and Advanced, can we scroll down here? Let's see, display. in the Show Document Content group, under Field Shading, one of the things you could do is just say always here instead of the default when selected. That way it's always going to show you what's a field, which is something that has dynamic information versus this static information down here. And now you can see this is not a field. So now instead of this greeting line that we created, let's go ahead and insert the greeting line. I want it to be more personal, but not too personal. And then it gives you an option for people whose names aren't in there or have an invalid name. I'm not sure what that would look like, but if there's nothing there, that's what it's going to give you, is this right here. So there's our greeting line. And then down here we need to insert our gift, and that's where we're going to use this button where we just select our fields. And if with a Mac, this is going to be the way you have to do it. Insert merge field and then insert each individual one in the format shown in the instructions for the assignment. So here I'm going to add gift. So I've added my field codes to the document, but I want to see what it's going to look like, and there it is. So one of the things I can do is, let me undo that. I'm going to change this. I'm going to do that by using the spacing after on just this line. Oops, not that line. I actually wanted to do this line. Yeah, I'm going to switch that one to normal. I'm actually going to change the spacing after, and I don't think I've gone over this yet. So in this window, when I click on the expansion arrow for the paragraph group, I get this dialog box, and I have these options right here. I want to increase this spacing after a bit. I'm going to try that and see what it looks like. Of course, I need to be on the correct line. I want to be on this line to increase this space here. I could use the spacing before if I'm on this line, but I want to be consistent so that I can find errors if I need to. All right, that spacing is probably, I think that's okay. It doesn't have to be. All right, so that's a preview of what it's going to look like. If I go back to the Mailings tab, I can scroll through here and see what each of these looks like. Okay. So if there's something at this point where I thought the formatting isn't working out and it isn't working out for any of the letters, then I would turn off the preview results and make my changes. If there's one letter that I don't like the way it looks and all the rest are fine, or if there's a couple, this isn't the point where I would make those changes. And I'll show you where that is just in a couple of minutes. So now I've finished my letter, except for some changes I want to make to specific letters. Like one of these is to my dad, so some of this language might change, right? So you can do that. So I'm going to finish merge, and there's a couple of options here. If you've done an email, you can send your email messages. It's going to send them automatically if you've included email addresses. Or it's not going to, I guess it'll prep them, and then you'll click the send button. And then you've got the print documents, so it'll send everything straight to the printer, and you can edit individual documents. Of course, for the assignment that we're working on, you want to edit individual documents. It's going to put, in this case, 5 pages into one document. Each page is going to be a letter. Then you're going to save that document for submission. In addition to saving this, the one with the field codes, I'm going to need both so I can effectively grade your assignment. Make sure you have both items uploaded. What I mean by that is you need one that looks like this right here, and then I'm going to include all my records. So what I did, let me go back. I'm going to finish and merge. I'm going to choose edit individual documents. I'm going to choose all because I have 5 documents, 5 individual recipients. And this is where I would make changes to individual letters, and I want to save this document for submission in my assignment. Okay, so I'm going to need both of these, this one and the one that shows the field codes. And I don't like what happened here, and this is what I was talking about. It changed my spacing after for all of the lines. I don't like that at all, so I'm going to actually close that. Come back here. I'm going to have to go back to the Home tab. I'm going to say no spacing here, and I'm just going to add an extra line there instead, like that. Okay, now I'm going to go back to mailings. I'm going to finish and merge, edit individual documents, all of them. Now that looks a lot better. I like those address blocks way better. Okay, and that's all there is to this. Make sure you save this file and this file. I need both of them. And I need them both in a Word document. I don't want them in a PDF. I can't grade a PDF because I can't see the formatting that you've chosen. All right, and that's all there is to this assignment.